Hello, this is my Biofuel project covering the topic of biobutanol. For starters, what is biobutanol? Biobutanol is a type of organic renewable fuel, known as a biofuel. Biobutanol utilizes agricultural and food waste products that are high in lignocellulosic biomass, although recent research suggests microalgal waste may be a more efficient energy source. In creating biobutanol, fermentation is used to break the waste products down into butanol, acetone, ethanol, hydrogen gas, and carbon dioxide. Biobutanol is a highly effective alternative to gasoline and is in fact more efficient than bioethanol. On the left, I have an illustration of the molecular structure of butanol as well as its most common isomer, isobutanol. The process of making biofuels is essentially finding ways to turn organic waste products into valuable fuels. Here, the source of energy for biobutanol is lignocellulosic biomass, or dry plant matter that is made up of cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin. Lignocellulosic biomass is an energy-rich resource because it contains polymers made up of thousands of glucose molecules. A few examples of lignocellulosic biomass would be corn stover, wheat and rice straw, and wood chips. Biobutanol is produced by first combining the waste products with acid to begin breaking down complex polymers. Then the solution is moved to a separate tank where caustic is added to increase the pH. Enzymes are added and an anaerobic bacteria, typically Clostridium, is added. Here is where fermentation occurs and the initial products are further broken down into pentoses and hexoses. Hydrogen gas and carbon dioxide are released and are captured to be refined. Finally, the solution is run through 3 distillers and a condenser to separate the final products: butanol, ethanol, and acetone. Any solid byproduct is dried and may be used as animal feed. Throughout the process, the tanks are heated by steam. A big part of producing biobutanol falls on fermentation. Here I have included a simple illustration of alcoholic fermentation. However, the fermentation process that occurs when making biobutanol is much more complex. It is known as ABE fermentation, or acetone butanol ethanol fermentation, due to the products it generates. Biobutanol fuel is still in the process of being researched and has not yet become widely adopted as an alternative energy source. This is mainly due to the high cost of producing biobutanol, its low yield, the potential for microbial toxicity, and the fact that current policies favor bioethanol as an alternative fuel. Implementation efforts are currently limited to researchers, policymakers, and industry professionals, and are not widely known publicly. Using biofuels such as biobutanol can help us to reduce our carbon footprint. One reason is because the plants used in making biobutanol capture atmospheric carbon dioxide during their lifetime, beginning the process with net negative carbon emissions. Another reason is because biobutanol itself produces less harmful emissions than gasoline, such as hydrocarbons and nitrogen dioxide. Overall, biobutanol is much more environmentally friendly than gasoline, and what's great is it still functions in regular non-specialized gas tanks. Some pros of implementing biobutanol as an alternative to gasoline is that it would improve energy security, open job opportunities in rural areas, and it makes use of what would otherwise become waste or a pollutant. Some challenges, however, are the high upfront costs associated with producing biobutanol, the much less expensive fossil fuel version of butanol, petrochemical butanol, and that the current policies favor bioethanol over biobutanol. Biobutanol is a great alternative to gasoline as it is much more environmentally friendly and is able to function properly within our current infrastructure and vehicles. Overall, the biggest obstacle facing the adoption of biobutanol as an alternative fuel is the high costs combined with a low yield of usable products. If I were to make a budget-free plan to promote the use of biobutanol, I would fund research, advocate for its use to policymakers and the public, utilize existing infrastructure for production, and finally, make biobutanol available as a cost-competitive alternative to gasoline. Here are some sources I used for information and photos. Thank you.